What's up, guys? How are you all? I hope you're super excited for this series where we are going to complete NCERT reading of class 11 and 12 biology as well as chemistry. Please do comment down below if you want me to do physics as well. As of now, our first target is class 11 biology. So, invite your friends, like, share, and subscribe. And now let's not waste any more time and get started with the chapter. Bryophytes. Bryophytes include the various mosses and liverworts that are found commonly growing in moist, shaded areas in the hills. Figure 3.2. Figure 3.2. Bryophytes. A liverwort. Markensia. A. Female thallus. B. Male thallus. Mosses. C. Funaria. Gametophyte and sporophyte. D. Sphagnum. Gametophyte. Bryophytes are also called amphibians of the plant kingdom because these plants can live in soil but are dependent on water for sexual reproduction. They usually occur in damp, humid, and shaded localities. They play an important role in plant succession on bare rocks or soil. The plant body of bryophytes is more differentiated than that of algae. It is thallus-like and prostrate or erect, and attached to the substratum by unicellular or multicellular rhizoids. They lack true roots, stem, or leaves. They may possess root-like, stem-like, leaf-like structures. The main plant body of the bryophyte is haploid. It produces gametes, hence is called a gametophyte. The sex organs in bryophytes are multicellular. The male sex organ is called antheridium. They produce biflagellate antherozoids. The female sex organ called archegonium is flask-shaped and produces a single egg. The antherozoids are released into water where they come in contact with archegonium. An antherozoid fuses with the egg to produce the zygote. Zygotes do not undergo reduction division immediately. They produce a multicellular body called a sporophyte. The sporophyte is not free living but attached to the photosynthetic gametophyte and derives nourishment from it. Some cells of the sporophyte undergo reduction division, meiosis, to produce haploid spores. These spores germinate to produce gametophyte. Bryophytes in general are of little economic importance, but some mosses provide food for herbaceous mammals, birds, and other animals. Species of sphagnum, a moss, provide peat that have long been used as fuel and as packing material for transshipment of living material because of their capacity to hold water. Mosses, along with lichens, are the first organisms to colonize rocks and hence are of great ecological importance. They decompose rocks, making the substrate suitable for the growth of higher plants. Since mosses form dense mats on the soil, they reduce the impact of falling rain and prevent soil erosion. The bryophytes are divided into liverworts and mosses. Liverworts. The liverworts grow usually in moist, shady habitats such as banks of streams, marshy ground, damp soil, bark of trees, and deep in the woods. The plant body of a liverwort is thalloid, example Markensia. The thallus is dorsiventral and closely pressed to the substrate. The leafy members have tiny leaf-like appendages in two rows on the stem-like structures. Asexual reproduction in liverworts takes place by fragmentation of thalli or by the formation of specialized structures called gemmae, singular gemma. Gemmae are green multicellular asexual buds which develop in small receptacles called gemma cups located on the thalli. The gemmae become detached from the parent body and germinate to form new individuals. During sexual reproduction, male and female sex organs are produced either on the same or on different thalli. The sporophyte is differentiated into a foot, seta, and capsule. After meiosis, spores are produced within the capsule. These spores germinate to form free-living gametophytes. Mosses. The predominant stage of the life cycle of a moss is the gametophyte, which consists of two stages. The first stage is the protonema stage, which develops directly from a spore. It is a creeping green branched and frequently filamentous stage. The second stage is the leafy stage, which develops from the secondary protonema as a lateral bud. They consist of upright slender axes bearing spirally arranged leaves. They are attached to the soil through multicellular and branched rhizoids. This stage bears the sex organs. Vegetative reproduction in mosses is by fragmentation and budding in the secondary protonema. In sexual reproduction, the sex organs Antheridia and Archegonia are produced at the apex of the leafy shoots. After fertilization, the zygote develops into a sporophyte consisting of a fruit, seta, and capsule. The sporophyte in mosses is more elaborate than that in liverworts. The capsule contains spores. Spores are formed after meiosis. The mosses have an elaborate mechanism of spore dispersal. Common examples of mosses are Funaria, Polytrichum, and Sphagnum. Figure 3.2. Figure 3.3. Pteridophytes. A. Selaginella. B. Equisetum. C. Fern. D. Salvinia. Pteridophytes. The pteridophytes include horsetails and ferns. Pteridophytes are used for medicinal purposes and as soil blinders. They are also frequently grown as ornamentals. Evolutionarily, they are the first terrestrial plants to possess vascular tissues, xylem and phloem. You shall study more about these tissues in Chapter 6. The pteridophytes are found in cool, damp, shady places, though some may flourish well in sandy soil conditions. You may recall that in bryophytes, the dominant phase in the life cycle is the gametophytic plant body. However, in pteridophytes, the main plant body is a sporophyte, which is differentiated into true root, stem, and leaves. Figure 3.3. These organs possess well differentiated vascular tissues. The leaves in Pteridophyta are small, microphyls as in Selaginella, or large macrophyls as in ferns. These sporophytes bear sporangia that are subtended by leaf-like appendages called sporophylls. In some cases, sporophylls may form distinct compact structures called strobili or cones. Selaginella equisetum. These sporangia produce spores by meiosis in spore mother cells. These spores germinate to give rise to inconspicuous, small but multicellular, free-living, mostly photosynthetic, thalloid gametophytes called prothallus. These gametophytes require cool, damp, shady places to grow because of their specific restricted requirement and the need for water for fertilization. The spread of living pteridophytes is limited and restricted to narrow geographical regions. The gametophytes bear male and female sex organs called antheridia and archegonia, respectively. Water is required for transfer of antherozoids. The male gametes released from the antheridia to the mouth of archegonium. Fusion of male gamete with the egg present in the archegonium result in the formation of zygote. Zygote thereafter produces a multicellular, well-differentiated sporophyte, which is the dominant phase of the pteridophytes. In majority of pteridophytes, all the spores are of similar kinds. Such plants are called homosporous. Genera like Selaginella and Salvinia, which produce two kinds of spores, macro, large, and micro, small spores, are known as heterosporous. The megaspores and microspores germinate and give rise to female and male gametophytes, respectively. The female gametophytes in these plants are retained on the parent sporophytes for variable periods. The development of these zygotes into young embryos take place within the female gametophytes. This event is a precursor to the seed habit, considered an important step in evolution. The pteridophytes are further classified into four classes: Psilopsida, Psilotum; Lycopsida, Selaginella, Lycopodium; Sphenopsida, Equisetum; and Pteropsida, Dryopteris, Pteris, and Adiantum. Gymnosperms. The gymnosperms, gymnos, naked, Sperma seeds are plants in which the ovules are not enclosed by any ovary wall and remain exposed both before and after fertilization. The seeds that develop post fertilization are not covered, that is, are naked. Gymnosperms include medium-sized trees or tall trees and shrubs. Figure 3.4. One of the gymnosperms, the giant redwood tree, Sequoia, is one of the tallest tree species. The roots are generally taproots. Roots in some genera have fungal association in the form of mycorrhiza, pinus, while in some others, cycas, small specialized roots called coralloid roots are associated with nitrogen-fixing cyanobacteria. The stems are unbranched, cycas, or branched, pinus cedrus. The leaves may be simple or compound. In cycas, the pinnate leaves persist for a few years. The leaves in gymnosperms are well adapted to withstand extremes of temperature, humidity, and wind. In conifers, the needle-like leaves reduce the surface area. Their thick cuticle and sunken stomata also help to reduce water loss. The gymnosperms are heterosporous. They produce haploid microspores and megaspores. The two kinds of spores are produced within sporangia that are borne on sporophylls, which are arranged spirally along an axis to form lax or compact strobili or cones. The strobili bearing microsporophylls and microsporangia are called microsporangiate or male strobili. The microspores develop into a male gametophytic generation, which is highly reduced and is confined to only a limited number of cells. This reduced gametophyte is called the pollen grain. The development of pollen grains takes place within the microsporangia. The cones bearing megasporophylls with ovules or megasporangia are called macrosporangiate or female strobili. The male or female cones or strobili may be borne on the same tree, Pinus. However, in cycas, male cones and megasporophylls are borne on different trees. The megaspore mother cell is differentiated from one of the cells of the nucellus. The nucellus is protected by envelopes and the composite structure is called an ovule. The ovules are borne on megasporophylls which may be clustered to form the female cones. The megaspore mother cell divides meiotically to form four megaspores. One of the megaspores enclosed within the megasporangium develops into a multicellular female gametophyte that bears two or more archegonia or female sex organs. The multicellular female gametophyte is also retained within megasporangium. Unlike bryophytes and pteridophytes in gymnosperms, the male and the female gametophytes do not have an independent free-living existence. They remain within the sporangia retained on the sporophytes. The pollen grains is released from the microsporangium. They are carried in air currents and come in contact with the opening of the ovules borne on megasporophylls. The pollen tube carrying the male gametes grows towards archegonia in the ovules and discharge their contents near the mouth of the archegonia. Following fertilization, zygote develops into an embryo and the ovules into seeds. These seeds are not covered. Figure 3.4 Gymnosperms. A. Cycas. B. Pinus. C. Ginkgo. Angiosperms. Unlike the gymnosperms where the ovules are naked, in the angiosperms of flowering plants, the pollen grains and ovules are developed in specialized structures called flowers. In angiosperms, the seeds are enclosed in fruits. The angiosperms are an exceptionally large group of plants, occurring in a wide range of habitats. They range in size from the smallest Wolffia to tall trees of eucalyptus over 100 meters. They provide us with food, fodder, fuel, medicines, and several other commercially important products. They are divided into two classes, the dicotyledons and the monocotyledons. Figure 3.5 Angiosperms. A. A dicotyledon. B. A monocotyledon. Summary. Plant kingdom includes algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, and angiosperms. Algae are chlorophyll-bearing, simple, thalloid, autotrophic, and largely aquatic organisms. Depending on the type of pigment possessed and the type of stored food, algae are classified into three classes, namely chlorophyceae, phaeophyceae, and rhodophyceae. Algae usually reproduce vegetatively by fragmentation, asexually by formation of different types of spores, and sexually by formation of gametes, which may show isogamy, anisogamy, or oogamy. Bryophytes are plants which can live in soil but are dependent on water for sexual reproduction. Their plant body is more differentiated than that of algae. It is thallus-like and prostrate or erect and attached to the substratum by rhizoids. They possess root-like, leaf-like, and stem-like structures. The bryophytes are divided into liverworts and mosses. The plant body of liverworts is thalloid and dorsiventral, whereas mosses have upright, slender axis bearing spirally arranged leaves. The main plant body of a bryophyte is a gamete producing and is called a gametophyte. It bears the male sex organs called antheridia and female sex organs called archegonia. The male and female gametes fuse to form zygote, which produces a multicellular body called a sporophyte. It produces haploid spores. These spores germinate to form gametophytes. In pteridophytes, the main plant body is a sporophyte, which is differentiated into true root, stem, and leaves. These organs possess well-differentiated vascular tissues. These sporophytes bear sporangia, which produces spores. The spores germinate to form gametophytes, which require cool, damp places to grow. The gametophytes bear male and female sex organs called antheridia and archegonia, respectively. Water is required for transfer of male gametes to archegonium, where zygote is formed after fertilization. The zygote produces a sporophyte. The gymnosperms are the plants in which ovules are not enclosed by any ovary wall. After fertilization, the seeds remain exposed and therefore these plants are called naked-seeded plants. The gymnosperms produce microspores and megaspores, which are produced in microsporangia and megasporangia borne on the sporophylls. The sporophylls, microsporophylls, and megasporophylls are arranged spirally on axis to form male and female cones, respectively. The pollen grains germinate and pollen tube releases the male gamete into the ovule, where it fuses with the egg cell in archegonia. Following fertilization, the zygote develops into embryo and the ovules into seeds. The angiosperms are divided into two classes, the dicotyledons and the monocotyledons. Awesome guys, so this marks the end of the chapter. I hope you really liked the video. Please do share your thoughts in the comment section and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Let's meet next Friday to continue the series with a new chapter. Bye.